So coming into a comfortable lying down position, if that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, you can be seated, but just make sure that you're comfortable. So there's no muscular effort in the way that you're holding your body right now, and that you're able to start this journey of letting go, of allowing the body to be held and supported by the earth, whether you're lying or sitting. So a moment here with the eyes closed, a little scan of your body from the crown, just moving all the way down very slowly, just to make sure that you're comfortable, and if necessary, that you feel supported. The most important step in our journey as we move through this energy healing practice is to make sure that we're comfortable. Comfortable can then lead us into deep relaxation. Then from deep relaxation, we have that ability to very naturally just shift our awareness into the non-physical part of our being. So we don't go anywhere. We just move through different frequencies. You know, we're vibrating at many, many different frequencies all the time. And what we're stepping into more and more is the remembering that we can actually choose what frequency we want to connect into. So what vibration we want to live our life at. And this is being made, more and more apparent as we start to see, there's a real energetic division taking place in the way that people are approaching, what's happening at the moment, dealing with the situation. There's a lot of people that are caught up in the fear and the manipulation and the control. This is a very low vibration. And there's a lot of people that are really stepping into that, that deep knowing that it's up to us how we live our life. Freedom, free will and choice is our natural state of being. And this is a very empowered way to be. And so this is a very high vibration. And it's completely up to us, where we want to sit with our awareness. We can sit in a very high vibration. We can sit in a very low vibration. And the key to really being able to witness where we're choosing to place our awareness, what vibration we want to connect into, is to be aware of our awareness. So we are conscious beings that are having an experience in this physical realm. So the experience is one thing, and the consciousness, the awareness is another thing. So the more we can cultivate this awareness of what we're being aware of, the easier it is to start to really choose how we want to use our energy, in which kind of vibration we want to live our life. Because it's, this is the time now that we're really being invited, we're being asked to step up, to step up and to step into this work. It's a very personal, internal work. We were talking about it a bit at the beginning of the session. We're coming to the end of the galactic year on the 24th of July. We have the day out of time on the 25th. And then the 26th of July is the beginning of the new galactic year. And so this is the beginning of a new spiral of time. So time isn't in a straight line. It seems like that because that's how we kind of move through this very like 3D physical dimension. It's very linear. There is a past, there's the present, and there's the future. And that is been set up that way so that we have the ability to experience and to reference. We can kind of go back into the past And usually from that, we project into the future. But time is actually, it spirals. Like you look at everything in nature, and nature is full of spirals. You look at our galaxy, you know, is a spiral. The universe is full of spirals. And so time is a spiral as well. And at the beginning of the galactic new year, we have this opportunity to really step into a new spiral of time, which essentially is a step up into a higher vibration. So more clarity, more internal awareness, the empowerment that comes from knowing we can choose kind of what vibration, what frequency we want to connect into. And, you know, there's a whole tsunami of energy that is trying to steer us away from this very natural, empowered way of being. And that tsunami of energy is very conscious. It has an agenda. There's a plan to what this energy is wanting to do. And this energy has the ability to really kind of like get under our skin and start to just kind of energetically irritate us in areas where we're still unclear, you know, areas where we get triggered, maybe experiences that we're still holding on to with a lot of story, a lot of emotional energy, maybe unresolved issues with people, unresolved issues with ourselves, and, you know, the whole host of other, um, you know, experiences that come with being human. So this energy, you know, it kind of niggles us energetically so that our vibration drops. You know, so our vibration drops because we get caught up in maybe we're going through a very insecure time, or we find our judgments are really coming up, or you're being triggered by someone or an experience in life. And our vibration drops, and then we find ourselves in this lower vibration, and then it's much easier to get caught up in that low vibration agenda around what is going on at the moment. So our work is always to do our internal work, you know, to really kind of start to clear out the energetic cupboard, because the more we clear all those old dusty tins out, you know, that are in the back, and the ones that we've forgotten about, ones that we didn't even know we had, you know, the more we can really clean out and be clear in our energy, then the less likely we are to kind of come into situations that creates a drop in our vibration. So between now and the end of the year, the end of the galactic year, is a time for being really shown, you know, all those old tins that are in the back of the cupboard. And at the same time, we're receiving, you know, such high vibrational light to really help us on our journey. The more light we receive, the easier it is to kind of look into the shadows, you know, in the back of the cupboard, and start picking out like this old rusty tin, and you deal with it. And sometimes you can just like, oh great, you can just, you know, take it out the cupboard and put it in the bin. Sometimes there's a little bit more work required around it, you know, it carries a little bit more energy. So we have this just under 4 weeks of very intense work. As always, we have a lot of support, a lot of energetic support, a lot of galactic support. You may find that you have support on the physical level as well, to really help us go through this journey. And this is why we're all here. You know, this is why we've chosen to incarnate at this time, to have this really intense, challenging experience on this planet. And the reason we've chosen to come back at this time is because we're here for the planet, you know, we're here to save her. because there's, we don't have much longer in the grand scheme of things to really, turn things around as a species. And for sure, the I don't think it will be this lifetime where we see, huge changes, but it's in this lifetime where we really start to, to plant those seeds of how we want to move forward, how we want to see the earth, how we want to connect into people, how we want to relate to ourselves and each other. And I've used this analogy before, which I got from a guy that I work with. And it's like, humanity is this big like tanker, on the sea, and it's just starting to turn a corner. And it's, it's massive and it's heavy and it's just starting to turn. And we're at that point, there's like a sticking point, just before the movement occurs. And this lifetime is to make sure that the big tanker doesn't get stuck in that sticking point, or and then just doesn't continue to turn direction. Because once you've gone past that sticking point, and once the bulk of this tanker has started to move, it's much easier, it's off on a new direction. And so those lifetimes when we come back, will be a little bit easier. But for now, it's just like, okay, we're just going to make sure, we keep heading in the right direction. And no one ever makes us do, or it doesn't seem like this right now, but no one ever makes us do anything, on a soul level. We chose to come back at this time. We have our soul journey, we have our soul work to do. But there's no one, kind of going, yeah, you have to incarnate at this time and you've got to do this and you've got to do that, because that is not how the universe works. At the moment, it's how our society works, because we've come to such a dysfunctional way of being. And this is what we're being shown, just how much things need to change. So we choose, we choose when we want to come back. We know that we need to, we always want to. This physical experience on this planet is very sought after, to really have this visceral experience, to have all the range of emotions, not just the ones that we like to label as positive, but everything, and this is why we're here, to have this experience. So this evening's energy healing, after we've gone through the guided relaxation, is to really come into a very deep state of internal awareness. Because the more we can practice this, the easier it becomes to actually be able to reference this place, this internal space, which essentially is a vibration. The more we practice, it becomes easier to reference. So when we're not in this held space, when we're not in this gift that we have to do this work together, once we're back out in life and the distractions and the challenges, it's a lot easier to just kind of connect back into this vibration. So I say internal space because it's easier for the mind to understand. And we, in a way, you've got to keep the mind happy. It has its ideas and the way it likes things to be, but it's a different frequency. But to keep the mind happy, we move into an internal space. So we're just practicing. We are practicing cultivating internal awareness, because this is what it's all about. This is what every single kind of yogic practice is all about. This ability to observe, and this ability to disassociate from the mind, because the mind is a tool that is designed to drop our frequency. The way that it's become completely, it's had the mind needs boundaries. The mind does need um, quite strong rules in a way, because that's the nature of the mind, and the mind has no boundaries, and the mind has no rules, so it's gone completely out of control. So we need to start kind of just containing it in a healthy way, and the way that we can do that is to start moving away from it vibrationally so that we can observe it. So we're not always up there, and then our vibration is constantly dropping. So over time, we can kind of move through our day, keeping a much higher frequency, a much higher vibration, partly because we're not getting lost in all the stories of the mind, partly because perhaps we're hearing a little bit more clearly, the voices, the thoughts, the energies of the mind, and because we're able to, at will, step into this internal space. So if you're in a challenging situation and maybe you start to feel like you're going to, just get into whatever your pattern is, maybe you attack, maybe you withdraw. In that moment, there's a split second where you can just come into this internal space, and then everything changes. Because you've moved into a higher frequency, a higher vibration, and that has completely shifted whatever that experience is. That there's still an experience to be had, but perhaps it'll be a different one where you're like, oh, okay, so that's how I kind of get caught up in that, and that's how that person triggers me, because I've got this unresolved stuff in me. And then it becomes a learning experience. Oh, great, and then we just learn more and more and more about ourselves, without judging, without criticizing, without putting ourselves down, without beating ourselves up. We're just here to learn. And the way that we do that is by having experiences. So we'll start with a guided relaxation. As always, just choosing to move into that space of observing, of witnessing. And the way that we can do that is by starting to observe and witness the breath. Witnessing the body breathing in, observing the body breathing out. So already we have started that journey into this internal space, because we're observing, we are aware of the body breathing. And we know that we are not the body breathing, but we are an awareness that is observing that. And essentially, that's, an awakening. That's an enlightened being. That is an ascended soul. To be able to hold this knowing through every breath that we ever take in life. But we all know life comes in, it's very distracting, it takes us off, it's very busy, and there's a lot going on. And so we move out of this awareness that is observing. And this is what the gift of being able to practice together like this, or being able to listen to this recording at another time, gives us. It's practice. So observing now as the breath starts to relax the physical body. This is also a great reminder that the best thing we can do is get out of our own way. And just let the breath relax the body. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to make anything happen. We don't need a plan of how it's all going to work out and what the end result's going to be and all of that. We just need to be present, and then everything just works out as it should do. And this is another thing that we can practice as we practice just being present and allowing the breath to soften the body. So when we step back into life, at times, maybe we can just, acknowledge that life is an energy that needs to flow through us. We are human beings. We are meant to be, not do, not plan, organize, control, manipulate, all the stuff that we get caught up in. So again, this practicing of just being, as the breath now starts to journey through the body, starting to release out the tensions that we carry in the body. Physical tension isn't just from the physical body or lifestyle stuff. There's emotional tension that we carry in the body. There's mental tension that we carry in the body. There's every single memory of the whole of our life is held in our body. And a lot of stuff we forget, but it's held in the body. And maybe there's an opportunity to allow some of this to release as well today. So just taking a couple of breaths, starting to see how the exhale is the invitation for energy to release. And as energy releases, it's very obvious in the physical. We feel that as the back of the head starts to soften, as the outside edges of the eyes release. The softness coming into the whole of the face, cheeks, nostrils, and lips completely relaxed. The softening of the low jaw away from upper jaw. The gentle release of the tongue into the back of throat. The softening around the base of the skull as the body goes deeper and deeper into relaxation. Tension in the neck, tightness in the throat, releasing. As the body now starts to allow the very heavy mental energy that we can carry on our shoulders, our upper back and chest, starting to allow that mental energy to release out through the exhale. A lot of emotional energy around the upper back and the chest. As the breath starts to invite the body to release out these different layers of energetic tension that we feel physically. Exhaling, the shoulder blades soften away from the spine, just a subtle release, a sense of the shoulders relaxing. The arms are heavy, all the way from the tip of the shoulders through the upper arms, down the forearms, into the hands, heavy and relaxed. The softening of tension inside the body as the diaphragm unravels a lot of emotional energy. And all the little muscles in between the ribs, the intercostals, also get very bound up with emotional energy. Our breathing is always reflecting how we're feeling. If we're stressed, our breathing is restricted. If we're carrying a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, that is reflected in the way that we breathe. So allowing all the emotional energy that is able to be released, allowing it now to release out through the exhale. Diaphragm softens, intercostals relax. And there's a subtle, very subtle change in the quality of the breath as the body continues to soften deeper and deeper into relaxation. Exhaling layers of tension in the belly, around the navel, releasing, allowing the muscles to relax, allowing a softening of the low belly and the low back now as the low back releases. The body responding to the invitation to release through the exhale. Any compression in the low back, just gently releasing out a very subtle sense of space in between the discs and the bones, the heavy lumbar vertebra. A softening of the sacrum in the back of pelvis, a gentle realignment of tailbone. And a sense of relief and release as the whole of the pelvis just gently realigns. Deeper and deeper the body goes. The buttocks relaxed. The thighs heavy. The legs continuing to release through the knees, the calves and ankles, all the way down to the tips of the toes. And again, just witnessing, just observing the body responding to the breath in its own way, in its own very natural way. Maybe observing some deep tension or deep contraction releasing through the exhale. Perhaps a feeling of the whole of the back of the body just melting down into the earth as all the superficial tension that we carry in the body is released. Yeah, there is a necessary amount of tension needed in our body, to give us structure and form. That tension being held in the fascia, the connective tissue, which is the architecture of the body. But on top of that, we place a lot of tension that kind of weighs us down. We're wearing all these heavy coats, one on top of the other. And so now all those coats have been taken off. The body completely relaxed. Back to observing the breath. The expansion of energy we label as inhale. And the contraction of energy we label as exhale. So inhale and exhale, what we call breathing, is labeling the grossest form of the movement of energy that is all around us. It's in every single living thing on our planet. It's in the stars, all the planets, all the galaxies, the universe is all beating to the rhythm of this movement of energy that we perceive very physically as breathing. But this is, the densest, the lowest kind of vibrational aspect of this movement of energy. And this is why breathing, focusing on the breath contains so much magic, because it opens a doorway. It allows us to step into this energy and to reconnect with this deep pulsating rhythm of life. And so we become aware now of not focusing so much on the body moving in response to this energy, but becoming aware of feeling this energy, maybe even seeing this energy. And as this energy moves in its very rhythmic way, we then perceive how the physical body responds to that. And we become very interested in this movement of energy. So there's many names for this energy, pure consciousness, our higher self, source, the shamanic way, the Great Mother, the Sacred Father. A lot of religious names have got attached to this energy. This is pure conscious energy. This is what we are, that has chosen to step into this very heavy, dense human body, to have a very dense human experience. And we've all got very attached and identified to that body and to the experiences that that body is having. But this is who we are. We are energy, we are awareness. This is the highest vibrational aspect of our being. Because the more we step away from the identification with the physical, the attachment to all the experiences that physical body has had, all the things that can drop our vibration and bring us down into that disempowered way of being. The more we can connect into this energy, the more ability we have to see. This is our internal space to keep the mind happy. This is our pure awareness. And the more time we spend consciously connecting into this vibration, the easier it is to hold this vibration as we move through life. And over time, you'll feel it straight away when you drop out of this place of internal awareness, because you'll be very aware of the change in your energy. You've gone from, being really connected, those days that we've all had them, and you just get up and you flow through your day, and you don't have to try, and it's just all very easy, and we would label it as a good day. This is a day when we're just very naturally connected into this vibration. We're moving from this internal awareness. And then conversely, we have other days that we'd like to label as bad days, when, you know, it's hard work. And that's because we've moved out of this internal space, this internal awareness. Something has triggered us to drop our vibration, or maybe we've done it ourselves. Sometimes it's as simple as like, eating too much, or eating the wrong food for our body, drinking too much if you drink, being around people who are, of a lower vibration. And then our own personal stuff, our triggers, our insecurities. So the more time we spend in this vibration, this internal space, it becomes much easier to be able to spend more of our life from here. And this is an empowered place to be. This is a place of choice, of freedom. This is a place where we connect into our own wisdom, where we can access the deep remembering that is being offered to us at this time. That we are creative beings. We are a very small fragment of source energy. Source energy created absolutely everything. And because we are a fragment of source, we hold that creative potential, so we can create. We can create the new earth. We can create an earth where, everything is in balance, where there is connection, where there is relationship, where we honor and love and cherish this planet that we have been gifted. And again, this is not going to happen in our lifetime, but we are, we're at the helm of the tanker, and we're making sure that we keep in the momentum so that this tanker changes direction. And how we do that is by just knowing that we are not our insecurities, we are not our judgments, our criticisms, we're not our stories, we are not the sum total of the experiences of our life. We are not the personality that we've created. We are not the sense of self. We are not the I, the me. This is a structure that has been created, and it's like getting in a lift, in an elevator that's going to take you straight down into that low vibration, if we choose to identify and stay attached to all of this. So it's about letting go, and letting go isn't a big deal if you can really see what you're letting go of and how it's not serving you any longer. And this comes from cultivating this internal awareness. So sinking into this internal space. Feeling the vibration of this energy. The lightness, the freedom, the space. Maybe intuitively knowing or sensing just how much easier life would be if we were able to maneuver through it from this vibration, this internal space. Because underneath all the programming, all the conditioning, all the pain, all the stories, all the attachment, we know that we are pure consciousness having this physical experience. But it's just been like stuffed down and down and down through millennia. And so this is why we're here at this time, this is what waking up is all about, just remembering what we are and then a willingness to let go of what we're not. And what can help us do that, what is, from my personal experience anyway, is key, is this ability to spend as much time as we possibly can connecting into this internal space. And then you can live your life from this space. It's not about just taking out, an hour of your time to connect into it. It's where you start to live from. It moves through you. It expresses through everything that you do. And because it's such an empowered way of being, we start to realize it is completely up to us as to what frequency, what vibration we want to connect into. So there's no victim and poor me and this has happened to me and I'm like this because of that. That's a big trap of humanity. It's like, no, actually, yeah, I can choose. I know there's stuff that I need to resolve within myself and with other people, but I'm willing to do that, because I know. So this is a whole different, different frequency. Oh, I'm like this because that happened to me and yada, yada, yada. Or, no, actually, I can sort this out. I can work through this. This is why I'm here. And it's a choice. I spent years in the victim, disempowered, poor me, and to actually be able to step away from that conditioning was so empowering. And I'm always on a journey, but it was a big step. It was like a very deep part of me just like was like, oh, I can breathe again. And now I know that I have the choice to decide as to how I want my energy, my frequency to vibrate. Yeah, and I've still got tins in the back of the cupboard. They're just the really old, rusty, dirty ones now that I've completely forgotten about. And that's how it is. So a few more breaths, just allowing yourself to really, I was going to say be, but you are already, to embody this frequency, this experience, this feeling that you're having. And know that you can connect back into this whenever you want, because it's within you, it's who you are. So maybe if it works for you, you'd like to place an energetic symbol. Just imagine that you're placing it into this energy, into this internal space. Or maybe something else comes to, you don't have to do this, but sometimes it's like an anchor. So if you really want to connect back into this energy very quickly, you can just bring to mind whatever you've placed in it. It can be a sound, a word, an image. It can be nothing at all if it doesn't feel right for you. can be a movement of your fingers. It can be anything that you want it to be if it feels right. So we start now to journey back down through the layers of our being, the vibrations, the frequencies, as we come back into the densest layer of our being, this physical body, this amazing physical body. But it's dense, it's heavy, it's energy that has slowed down so much that it has been able to form matter. And this densest, heaviest aspect of our being is the one that we're most attached to because it's obvious, it's physical. But we are so much more than this. This is the tool. This body is the tool for us to have experiences in this physical realm. Because if we didn't have a physical body in this physical realm, how can we have a physical experience? So again, we get highly attached to our body. It's a vehicle, and it's amazing, it's a work of art, but it's a vehicle, it's a tool allowing us to have experiences that we can then learn from and grow and develop from. So this vibration, this internal space where we've been connecting into for a while, it's, if you like to think of it as being inside your body, it's inside you. If you like to think of it, it's a different frequency. So back to the physical breath. Journeying with each physical breath back into the physical body. And maybe, starting to just feel it's very different to be in the body. It's very heavy, it's very dense, there are boundaries. But this isn't the sum total of who we are. So maybe, just before we come out completely, just having a little play of just moving your awareness from the physical back into that internal space, because they're very intimately connected, but they are vibrations away from each other, but they are symbiotic because we can connect into that internal space and then it expresses through the physical body. Otherwise, we'd be a yogi living up in a cave in the Himalayas, but we're living a very real life. Not that that isn't real, but it's very different. We have got all the ups and downs and the ins and outs of living in the world that we're living in right now. So coming back fully into the physical body with immense gratitude. This body is amazing. This body is the vehicle for us to have very physical experiences. But that internal space, that internal awareness is what grows and learns and develops from the physical experiences that the body is having. So maybe if you feel to, a couple of deeper breaths. And whenever it feels right for you, just starting to bring some movement into the body. If you want to, if you don't want to move and you'd like to stay there, then please do. If you would like to come up to seated, then I will guide you up there. But again, if you don't want to, you can just stay where you are. But if you are coming up into seated, maybe a stretch if you haven't already. If you haven't been seated, it can be quite good to place the soles of your feet on the floor, just to ground, just to come back. And then if you are coming up and you have been lying down, just gently rolling over onto one side. And supporting yourself up just gently and slowly into a seated position. And once seated with eyes closed, just taking a couple of breaths, very aware of that physical connection of the pelvis into the earth, or if you're seated, the side. And perhaps a little bit more clarity, a little bit more opportunity to really feel. We can feel our physical body right now, but we can also connect into that internal space. They go hand in hand. And then when you're ready, just gently opening up the eyes.